I'm out doing one of my night walks here, y'all. So, why it won't actually work with the narcissist? Okay, this is going to be kind of a different mindset here. So, listen, open up and listen, okay? When I say open up your thoughts so you can understand clearly what I'm saying, and I hope that this makes sense, right? One reason it will not work with the narcissist is because he or she is not actually a full blown narcissist. Let me explain what I mean. You have a narcissist, which can be diagnosed with NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, right? Or narcissist personality disorder, however way you want to word it. However, when someone's narcissistic, they're not high enough on the spectrum to be a narcissist as far as diagnosed. We're talking about being clinically diagnosed, right? So, what happens is you've looked up the information and you found, oh my God, I've been with someone that has a personality disorder and they're a narcissist, right? But in some cases, over time, you may find, there's some large levels of empathy with this person in certain areas of their life. Like, for example, say there's two sisters or two cousins and or two brothers, whatever dynamic it may be. One may have decided to cut contact with their brother or a sister or a cousin because they did not want to continue to put their sibling or cousin on a path of drug abuse, right? Now, would someone with full blown NPD have that capability? Most likely not, right? So, that person that cut contact with their sibling to keep them out of the drug world is actually narcissistic because you have to have some level of empathy for your sibling to do that, right? So, this is why your relationship didn't work. They were narcissistic. So, what happened was they had a lot of mixed emotions. Okay, now, when someone's narcissistic, they will do a lot of things that narcissists will do: silent treatments, emotional abuse, bad intentions, cold, the cold and hot game, lies, unloving. However, some of your problems with them over time will rectify itself. So, say for example, if they're narcissistic and they lie a lot, right? And you begin to challenge that activity or say something, and they see that the consequences, you're hard on that. I mean, you're strict, you're not tolerating it. You're like, look, I've caught you in these lies, stop it. Someone that's narcissistic can improve the behavior. Anything that's really like causing a really bad situation in your relationship, someone that's narcissistic has the ability to correct some of it for a while. However, remember, they will act as if they have NPD, but they really don't really have the disorder. They're just very narcissistic, which means, for one, if someone's narcissistic, they do have some empathy and they're not a sociopath. Okay? So, because of these things, the relationship didn't work because, for one, you thought they were a sociopath. You thought they were a narcissist. However, they have similarities to the narcissist and the sociopath. And I'm going through this with you because I actually went through a situation like this, right? And the only way you will find out the truth of what they are, you got to stop sleeping with them. And you'll wonder, well, I didn't say full no contact. And it's okay in that case because they're narcissistic. So there was enough empathy in them for them to respect you and be your friend and not violate you, like physically violate you, fighting you and stuff like that, or cursing you out or whatever, robbing you, stealing, things like that. So that's the reason it didn't work out. So what happens is when someone's narcissistic, they have a lot of similarities to a narcissist, but over time you will definitely know that they're no sociopath, okay? So they don't have sociopathy. And they were someone, they were on a up and down because in our reality, someone that's narcissistic can love you. Okay? They can want you. Okay? But because they were narcissistic and they didn't have a made up mind about you, and because they will have so many similarities to someone with NPD, they're never going to be stable in your life. Because all of the same stuff that people with NPD do, like silent treatments, going away for long periods of time when you have disagreements, not being able to actually do what they say that they're going to do, having a lot of shame for what they've done to you, wishing it could have worked, but not really having the real ability to sit down and say, I want this to work. All of the things that's in the way, that's stopping it from working, whether it be I have a functional drinking problem. This is the person that's narcissistic. I'm not saying I have one. Whether they have a functional drinking problem, whether they're cheating, whether their self-esteem is low, because that's something that narcissistic people will have also, along with empathic people. Okay? Normals, they're low on empathy and low on narcissism. So they're just normal. I mean, they just really are not in tune and caring about all of that. They're in tune with themselves, but they're not on these extreme pathways. There's not too much empathy and there's not too much narcissism. They're just normal. Okay? They're like the great working robot, right? So that's why the relationship didn't work when you were with someone that's narcissistic, because for one, you thought they had NPD, but through talking to them and being their friend over a period of time, you started adding some things up and you realize that's not a full-blown narcissist. However, this is somebody that doesn't know what they want. And what it is, I find that people that are just narcissistic still have a hard time committing. Okay, even if they do decide not to cheat and they don't know how to make a new start in beginning, okay, they often also have very high stress and anxiety levels. And another thing I notice about people that are just narcissistic, they don't have NPD, they're just narcissistic, they're very routine, okay? And a lot of times the things that are currently in their life stops them from building relationships that are closer. Like, for example, a man or woman that has a group of friends that they hang out with often, right? Sorry about the traffic over there, y'all. I'm going through this neighborhood here, which is my neighborhood that I'm in, but on the other side of that gate is traffic. So I may walk down at this other end so that doesn't bother you. However, I like walking around this roundabout. So that's why it won't work. It's because they ain't a narcissist. However, they are very narcissistic. So things like this, okay, this is the experience I've had. Narcissistic people, this is one of the things I was always kind of, I'm not saying I'm proud of it, but this was something that over time I was always able to implement, giving them what they want, right? So someone that's narcissistic, remember, they do have low levels of empathy. So there is an ability for them to have empathy for you. So what happens is this. You guys break up. You and the narcissistic person break up, right? And you adjust to your lifestyles. So remember, you're broke up. One or both of you have moved to a new location. So you're in your separate places. You're not really in each other's schedule. You gave the narcissistic person what they wanted. They wanted to take their friends first. They didn't have much time for you. So you gave them what they were asking for, which is a breakup. Because when someone does not or cannot prioritize you and implement you in their life, and you two cannot goal set together and make something out of this love that you've built for each other, right? When you can't do that, you have to give the narcissistic person what they want, which is for you to exit their life. And that's something I was always good at. So when I gave them what they want, or the person that was narcissistic, there's a process that they go through and you go through. And one of the things that you go through is the grieving period. Because remember, they're not a narcissist. So they grieved too. See, that's the mistake. That you think they got NPD or a sociopath, but they're actually just narcissistic. So they sitting up crying on their bedside too, along with you. However, you're not narcissistic. So believe it or not, you're a little bit more logical. So you understand you can't cry by your bedside every night for 6 months because you have a job, you have a family. So you get some control of that. You get some therapy, okay? Versus the narcissistic person, they're a functional drinker, so they're going to be crying on their bedside with their liquor. And it won't help the situation because they're going to indulge in their functional drinking while they go to work, okay? So follow me here. So what happens is you clearly adjust to your lifestyle. You're in your new place. And you and the narcissistic person are in separate places. So there comes a point you wonder, oh, we're still cool. We're still neighbors. We're still this and that, right? And you wonder how that's able to happen. So this is the process where you figure out that they're narcissistic, right? Because something may happen. You may see each other in the neighborhood. They need some help. Like, I'm having trouble figuring out this document that I need to type for work. So you're in the same area. You're like, okay, I don't mind fixing you or helping you with that. Not fixing it, but helping them with that, right? And so you're on a walk and they may say, oh, well, I'll drop you off or whatever since you're on one of your walks. And you say, no, that's okay. You may actually be in the car. This is how it can happen, right? So, and you say, well, no, I'm going back in this restaurant right here. I have some food waiting or whatever. So you go back in there and you don't invite the narcissist in to eat, or the narcissistic person. So what happens is there's a awakening and a level of pain that you've just caused. Because remember, this person is narcissistic. So they have empathy for you and for themselves. Okay, so they're hurt. They're in pain because it hits them. Wow, I used to have this level of control and I used to have this much love from him or her. So back in the day, I would have been able to take this person home. We would have went in their house, ate dinner, laughed and joked, and had a great time. Okay, but now I don't have the control. It's real. We're really broke up. And this person would rather go back in and get their food than to even have me take them home. The narcissistic person will realize I was not even able to redirect them to the house, because the narcissistic person want to come in your new house. That's the bottom line. And so that's why it won't work, because they don't have NPD. They're not a sociopath. They're just narcissistic. So the sadness of the breakup will be in the midst, as if two empathic people broke up, if this makes sense. So just keep this in mind. It didn't always work because they had full-blown NPD. These were actually clean-cut breakups where nobody got punched in the face. There was no police reports called on one another. I'm talking about clean breakups. And the reason it was clean is because one of the people was severely empathic and did love the narcissistic person, and the other person was just narcissistic and they didn't have NPD. That's why it didn't end with somebody being in the hospital, somebody going to jail. Both of you were able to recognize that you have things that you can lose: your residence, your jobs, your children, your families, your freedom, your criminal records. You had things to lose. And so that's what I learned in my past in one particular situation, is that's the reason it didn't work. Because the individual, I saw and witnessed the level of pain that that individual went through behind that breakup. It wasn't just me that was in the pain. And at the end of the day, through talking to this gentleman from a logical point of view, not an intimate point of view. See, when you're intimate with them, you just know for sure this is a narcissist. Oh, I know this is a sociopath. I've been with a sociopath also. Okay, just so you know, I have been with the sociopath. And there is a major difference. One major difference is you didn't really fully lose anything, but your feelings were deeply hurt. When you broke up with this narcissistic person, you didn't lose a car, you didn't lose your home, you didn't lose any children. You just lost your feelings. You got your feelings hurt really, really bad, and it made you cry. So that's it for this video. That's what I have to say about this video, is that that's the reason it didn't work, because he or she was narcissistic. And another way you'll know is because of the way you'll feel. You'll feel like, I don't really have no ill will against this person. And then when you study more on NPD, something won't be adding up. And then you won't be able to figure out why this man or woman has this certain level of empathy in these certain areas. And you're able to figure out through getting to know them that they're not faking. Okay? And that's what it is. If they went to a psychologist or a psychiatrist, they couldn't be diagnosed with NPD because they don't have it. However, they're highly narcissistic, and usually those type of situations won't work in general unless the narcissistic person is not drug and alcohol addicted. Okay, if someone's narcissistic and they're drug and alcohol addicted, they will behave because of the addiction as if they have NPD or as if they have sociopathy. Okay, so just keep this in mind. I'm just sharing my experience and what I've learned about getting more deeper and evaluating the situation. And that's what happened. And you won't realize this. Keep in mind, you gotta stop sleeping with this person, whether they're narcissistic or a narcissist. And the benefit of not sleeping with them is you'll be able to figure out what they are. And that's all I have to say. I mean, you could agree with it, you cannot agree with it. Please comment if it made sense. And this may make you think back to a situation where you can say, oh, she's right about that. I see where she's coming from. So anyway, please like, share, and subscribe. And I hope I'm able to help. And if you have any questions, you're free to ask questions. I do answer questions on this platform. And anyway, please like, share, and subscribe. And thank you so much. Bye.